What's going on, boys?
What's going on, boys? What's the count, boys?
What's up, boys?
Hey, shout out to all y'all who thought it was green screen in the background. It's not. So that was I got a
It's
comment
real
the other day.
hard- That's my fucking car right there.
It kind of looks like it's been there for a while. Is anything happening to it?
No.
Well, it doesn't have wheels, so
No,
I can't
it's,
do much.
This is what happened, honestly, is I got kind of overwhelmed. Not overwhelmed's the wrong word, but work's been pretty busy.
Yeah,
And it's been a lot of conversations, like a lot of
mental energy.
emotional and mental energy, and I just haven't had the space to where I felt like I could dedicate a whole day to go in. Because I found that working on this stuff piecemeal doesn't really work for me. If I went in for a couple hours, I'm just starting to get in the groove after a couple hours. So I need like dedicated Sunday, which just hasn't happened.
You also need to, or for me, I need to prepare for it because I'm the same way. It's like I'm like, oh, I want to make some music and I'll start. But if you like go in between, you're like, I'm gonna make music again, but it's almost like you need to set the time for it. It's weird.
Yeah.
Like you need to set your vacation time to do it, whatever that means. I can't. Yeah, I'm the same.
It's a coffee shout out hour right now. Here we go.
Let's do it.
Coffee Culture Bar.
Oh,
They're one of our partners. They're in Modesto, my hometown. They have a Kickstarter going. They're building their first brick and mortar cafe. So
Having their first BM.
they've had a trailer for years now and have been setting up at different places around Modesto doing events, crushing it over there. And Jamie, who owns Culture, is taking a step to do brick and mortar. And I'm really excited because it is in the parking lot that's at the cross section. It's on McHenry, which was like, and in some ways kind of still is like one of the main drags in Modesto. It's different depending on where you're at. It's not what it used to be, and Floyd. So McHenry and Floyd. And I used to live on Floyd, like 3 blocks down from where that was. And the parking lot that they're building in, that was basically like we skated there every day. So I was in that parking lot for just every day for years of my youth, junior high and high school. And now there's going to be a coffee shop there. So
Good.
We'll put a link down below to where you can check it out.
I really enjoyed her at the partner program for 2 years now ago, or maybe more.
Yeah, she's just good energy.
Yeah.
You know, she does, I don't know what her affiliation is, but she works part-time with the gyms and the fitness community there. And I could see her being one of those people that motivates other people to do good stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? She's just got a vibe around her, which is cool. So that's jumping off. You can check that game out. In other coffee world, we just launched a little Nicely. We love you, Nicely.
Yeah.
Coffee. So if you don't know Nicely, where have you been?
Yeah. Do you not know Latte Art or coffee?
Do you not know Latte Art?
Check him out.
Or work ethic.
Nicely is kind of like a force of nature in the coffee community. And I remember the first time I met Nicely, it was 2006. We were on a trip to Seattle, and I was working at Ritual at the time, and we went to Vivace. He was working at Vivace, and this was before he was Nicely. He was just, a guy who was working at Vivace, which, Vivace basically single-handedly brought Latte Art to the United States. So respect, David Schomer. He's the godfather of us all, whether you like it or not.
Cafe Latte.
David, I love you, bro.
We saw you. We went and saw you working on your grinder. We got a video of it.
But Nicely was crazy because we saw this dude, and he had just really big energy, and he was Puerto Rican, and he had neck tattoos.
Yeah.
And I was with Gabe, who's also Puerto Rican, and we're like, what's up with this dude? This dude's tight. I've never seen a barista that looks like that before. And Gabe's like, I'm fucking down with this dude. Like, before we even knew him, like, this guy's tight. And from then on, he's like 3-time world Latte Art champion, kind of the father of the Slow Zeta movement, the whole shtick. Anyway, he's an inspiration to a lot of people and is just a genuinely nice human being. And he's been having some health troubles lately. And it's that combination of not being able to work, bills stacking up, but then also the stress that comes with it, which is just as big as the monetary part. It's like that feeling of being out of control. So
yeah, and like out of work for 2 to 3 months, it'll be, if not more.
He's been in and out of the hospital multiple times, like had
3
surgeries. It's just, that kind of shit sucks. So we were thinking, what can we do to help out. So we put together a special little bag of their Minotti's VSEB.
Very special espresso blend.
Very special espresso blend. Made a little label. Got to flex some artistic skill.
Looks good.
Seems like we're also gonna have to order a lot more labels because
Yeah.
the demand is far
Which is
superseding.
amazing. I mean, the community's
That's
just been on it, which is rad. Which
Yeah,
just
thank
tells
you.
you like how powerful he is to the community and how much the
Yeah.
community appreciates him. Like the amount of reposts and sharing and orders and
It's a
people like,
lot.
can I buy this for the subscription? Oh, can we do? I don't know who it was. You can remind me, but they want to buy a bunch and do
like
a.
65 bags.
That's the LA Coffee Club was talking about
Right.
it. And then I don't know if this is going through yet, so don't hold your breath on everything. But Mark's working on it right now. But then someone wants to do like a group buy for
right.
From the U-
in the UK.
In the UK.
Yeah. So things are just rolling. So that's been really, really cool. And those are, for me, those are the most fun projects to
Yeah.
work on. Like projects that just make you feel really good. Like they have the power to make someone else feel good, like brighten someone else's day. And sure, like it's not our responsibility to pay for his medical bills. And, we're donating half the profits from the coffee are going to go to him. And it's not going to pay all of those bills, but part of it's just one, help ease that pain a little bit. And two, like when you're having a shitty time, just knowing that someone else is thinking about you and appreciates you and what you do means a lot.
I mean, it is the mission of our company
and
to
that's
inspire
like-
connection by creating a memorable experience. And
Yeah.
it's a way to do that is outside of the box of directly relating to Cat and Cloud internally. It's what we're trying to do. And it's easy, not easy. It's a no-brainer when you consider our mission. It's like
It's the
this is
best.
the thing to do.
Oh, yeah.
It's been really cool to see in the roastery, like all the comments that have come in with the orders too. So like Soren and Jen Swin are working on like packaging all those comments up
Ooh,
so
that'd
we
be
can
cool.
send those to Nicely as
Oh,
well.
cool.
Because
Make a
to, like,
mosaic out of
just
them.
to hear
Give
the
'em a quilt.
love like in all the different orders has been really
That's
feels
cool.
really good.
I remember the first time I met him, I was lucky enough I'd gone down to LA to hang out with the Intelli, whatever, that crew at the time, the Ryan Wilbur and it was Kyle and Devin and Nick Griffith too, I think, all four of them. And we were at dinner and we had to go pick up this dude Nicely at the airport who was moving down to work for them. And I didn't know who he was at the time. And we all ended up hitting. It was crazy. It was super fun. Like we went and got food, had a drink, and then went and picked him up at the airport and then took him, I don't remember where, but I just remember being in the car with him and being like, we got on immediately. He's so easy to connect with and he does such an amazing job. I mean, even my wife, the first time she's like, that guy's awesome.
Yeah.
And
He's
my
really
girls,
authentic.
He's just who he is.
he's really good at it. And he's just always been somebody who's got our back too, even when he didn't work in any sort of way directly with us. I remember being in the Coffee or Coffee Geek forums and people were at the time talking trash about Latte Art. Like it doesn't matter. And I remember he and I were just toe to toe with a whole group of people talking about how it does matter, and it was really fun. We were getting each other's back, and it was just a fun time. He's always been down for us and always been down to just for coffee culture in general.
Also, like, who would even say that doesn't matter?
Oh, it was
That's like a
such a
complete
time.
sidebar, but like,
No, I know. I'm just thinking about my memories of like he and I have always had this, and I think we've experienced it too. But this like unsaid camaraderie that comes at certain times, like ramps up at times, and we like go in together, and we've had like little side missions in the coffee world together.
Yeah,
that
that's
have just been really fun.
Yeah, it's cool. He's always someone I felt really connected to, even though we don't hang out all the time.
I think that's because maybe it's because he's he's really authentic. He's really open, and I feel like we are too. But you have to kind of get into those small groups, right? You like jump in a car and you go to a deep conversation pretty quick with him. At least that's been my experience, and that I think that's just something special that certain people have, and he's willing to go there, and I think that's pretty badass.
Yeah. So if you want to support the man,
the myth,
pick
the legend,
up the legend. Snag a bag of coffee. It's super fun. The label's super fun. You could just cut it out after, and
pretty soon we'll have to hand draw them and just keep going because we'll run out.
yeah, it's awesome. Thanks to everybody who ordered. Thanks for supporting. It means a lot, and we've talked to Nicely, and we know it means a lot to him. So, boom,
warm and fuzzies.
Yeah,
warm
thanks everybody.
and fuzzy.
Dude, I don't know if this is something that you'd want to talk about. It'd be like,
Absolutely.
Lead the conversation today, bud.
well, dude, it's like you've been saying that you just said like work's been busy. I think for everybody, I'm curious. Like it's kind of like mid-year to like look back at like the first half of the year and just Hear the nice buzz
I'm
saw
sorry.
in the background.
Weiser's thinking ahead of like how he's gonna try to mix that out. It's gonna be noisy. I'm sorry, guys. Okay,
Yeah, it doesn't bother me.
Back to
It
Chuck.
doesn't bother.
First year, second half of year.
Yeah, I'm curious if you
Oh, how they
like kind
compare?
of like mid-year, like if we look back on like the first half of the year, like what kind of grades we'd give ourselves, and then like what we think about like the second half of the year, just as business owners or just even people in their personal lives. I think it's nice to like reflect on the last 6 months and then like think about the next 6 months.
Are you grading on the curve of where we started to where we are now? Or are you grading as just like a flat grade of like, here's how we're doing as a
Yeah, just how you
as a
thought
squad?
like the first half went.
damn, dude? It's hard to do a not comparison for me. I'd call us a B plus.
Yeah, I was gonna throw it in like the
Yeah.
B plus range.
I mean,
too.
I think in terms of mindset as a whole, I think we're like hot, but the thing is execution is to follow. So I can't give us even an A minus yet. BB plus feels right.
I think we did really. I think I'm really proud of the first half of our year.
Yeah.
And I don't even think of some of the things are frustrating. Like, sure, we're not open hours, but I don't. Those things don't bother me when compared to the growth that we've had as leaders
Yeah.
and the leadership team around us
Mm-hmm.
has had. I have a lot of trust in the people that are here right now, and they've more so than just believing in them as people, which we already did. They've proven that they can handle business,
Operate at a
you
high
know?
level, yeah.
And you know, just like we're busy, they're taking one for the team too. We got a
Yeah.
lot of people working a lot, and but we have a much more, I don't know, healthy and complete picture of what's going on. You know, the
Robust.
roastery's feeling really
Yeah.
good. We got Andre team leading in the roastery. That was something that we've been talking about, how to plug the team leader gap. That, you know, Grace kind of brought the roastery up,
Mm-hmm.
and then there was never another Grace because there isn't another Grace.
Yeah.
And who's the right person in there? That was a big conversation. Marketing was a big conversation. How do we, you know, we have more ideas than anything. Like, we have no shortage of ideas in this little house right here. So how to channel those effectively out into the world without having one of us being able to do it all.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
We're
that
just
was
getting
a win.
equipped.
We're still equipping.
We're
Yeah.
equipping. It's a building year, and we're kicking ass.
Yeah, because right, it's like the roastery's a win, marketing's a win. Like you get into the roastery with coffee
Yeah,
is a
just
win.
back in.
Retail empowerment is a
Retail.
win. I've seen the people on the front lines
Mm-hmm.
not just being better at guest service, but also taking much more of an interest in the things that we really care about as a culture. Like, we got a bunch of people that are coffee heavy right now. Maybe
Right.
not full blown complete package professionals yet, and there's a few of those too, but there's just people who are interested. That energy is super refreshing to have, that coffee geekery, just taking pride in what you do and seeing it more than just a job, but this is just something that I'm into. You know, I'm not just a barista, I'm just like really into the culture, and that's been super sick.
Yeah, it's cool to see it from like the retail leadership squad, from like Alyssa, from Kylie, from Eli, you know, on up into Levi and Herman, and everybody there. It seems like they're really dialed in.
Yeah, it's been
Culture,
that's
coffee.
That's a treat, man.
That is
That's
a treat.
That's a treat.
That makes you proud and feel good and feel alive when you see other people taking it seriously. Chuck, what's your grade? You didn't tell us your grade for the year.
I think he threw out a B.
Did you throw?
I-
Oh yeah,
I mean,
you
I could
did.
throw
You
like
did.
a-
You said BB plus.
Man,
huh?
I mean, just like as we're talking about it, like
You
you
want
said,
to
it's-
elevate that grade, huh?
I know, yeah. I feel like
That's why
it's
if you're
it's
grading on the
like,
curve,
I feel like
we're
I'm
A's.
like cupping a coffee, and then you go back as it's cooling down and it's hanging there, tasting really good, getting better. I
yeah.
kind of
The
want to like
nuance is
give it a
hot.
little plus.
Yeah.
Give it a little plus.
You kind of always got a grade on a curve, right? Because we're never going to be as good as we're going to be, right?
I mean, if
Yeah.
then
Like an A
does
this
that mean
year
it's
would be a-
always an A.
well, no, I mean, sometimes you don't always knock it out of the park. Like,
Sure.
we've had C moments for sure.
Right.
You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
that's like, even though we were getting better than we were in the past, we were still like hitting it at a C.
So
like,
where's the curve start? That's I guess the part. Just start in January to now.
Oh yeah, I guess that's a weird.
Because if you go year over year,
yeah.
then I'm like we're at A level now because the beginning whatever June, July, August was like the pinnacle of shenanigan world last year.
Right.
So that's where I'm like, you grade on that curve, we're like A-ing, but like
I don't know though. It's weird. Yeah.
I was thinking more your like absolute like your absolute grade, like the absolute
I'm happy
grade
with the
in
B
your
plus.
mind.
I'll call it
Yeah.
a B plus only because maybe A minus. I might give me a give
Because I
us
think
A
like we've had a
minus.
lot of wins. Like you talk about like the roastery's been a win,
No, you're right.
like marketing's been a win, retail where we're at is a win. So I mean,
Right. Everything is doing
Is trending
this, and even though we do, it is all trending up, stock market style or whatever, Bitcoin as they were.
we're in a bull
Not
market.
for me. I don't have any. Yeah, exactly. Bull marketing right now. Man, I hate those terms so much, and it's like out of my control. And people love those terms, but I just realized them, and I'm like, man. Anyway,
Price of coffee is up there too.
yeah. I mean, as a whole, you're right. Like all the plans have been good and have been working. It's just a hard thing when you, I think, are us and you can see the level you'd like to be at and knowing that we'll never achieve it. I guess that's where I have a hard time giving that high grade.
Well, I mean, I think we're not like running at 100%, right? It's like we're still hiring a lot for like a lot of coordinator
We are behind.
positions.
Mm-hmm.
We're super sad that Alex is moving back to New Orleans.
In case y'all didn't know, Alex is moving to New Orleans to pursue dreams and be near his family and friends, and kind of start his family life.
There's so much shit going on. I'm like news guy today. All right, can I be news
Do
guy?
it. What's the weather look
Today, AccuWeather Service.
If you're in Santa Cruz, the 16th.
Oh, hot
Is
or
this
not
shit
chicken
going
pop
down
up.
for real?
like? Oh,
Yeah.
shit.
Okay.
Alex and I go today at
yeah.
1 to like pre-R&D and buy dry ingredients. So you'll see the charge
There
on
is
the
a
debit
there
card.
is a
Should Costco take it?
double pop-up happening. Swift Street, Cat and Cloud. We've got Hot or Not Chicken, and we've got Paw Paws Donuts.
And the
August
only drink being served with that is a penicillin. No, I'm just kidding.
Whoa. I mean, if y'all are serving it, that's chill, and then we have to make it a private event.
Just kidding.
But yeah,
I
it's
was
going
kidding.
down. Alex and I committed to it, and part of the catalyst was Alex is leaving, and he has a dream to start a donut shop as well as other things. So, and I've been talking about it forever. So we were like, if we don't put it on the calendar, it's not going to happen. Essentially. So
Yeah.
So
I made chicken.
ride through on that thing. I mean, Hot or Not is.
Hot or
I've
Not
been
chicken.
bugging you to do that shit forever.
Yeah. The
And-
last time I made it was kind of the catalyst, though, to me feeling like I was ready.
Yeah.
Because I'd kind of been refining it, and it tasted good every time. But the last time, which was only 2 weeks ago, Sunday morning I got up, and I think by mid-afternoon I decided I was making hot chicken. So I threw out this last minute, who can come in the neighborhood? And actually most people said no, and then last minute people said yes. But it tasted good, so I was like, fuck it, we're going to do it. And then Alex comes back the week later and was like, I think I'm moving. Maybe it was even a couple days later, I'm moving. We're like right about the same time. So I was like, let's go. Hot or Not means this. I don't want to do like the 17 different kinds of Nashville hot chicken where it's like it's kind of hot. And then there's like level 7 and the destroyer level. I'm just like, I'm going to make a hot one or a fried chicken sandwich. And that's what we're going to do. It's going to come with a side of slaw and some potato chips. It's going to be simple. But I tell you, so far I'm batting 1,000. Everybody who's eating it likes it.
It's good.
It's good.
Even when it wasn't dialed in, it's better than most chicken sandwiches I've ever had. So
You did give me the great honor of what's the cool San Diego chicken spot that Richard Blaze owns. We went there. It's really awesome.
Crack Shack.
Crack Shack.
Yeah.
So we went there, and I got the Nashville hot chicken there, and it was fine, but I liked the way that I had done it at home better. And the next night, Chris came down as well, and he went there. And he ate it, and he texted me. He's all, "Yours is better." And I was like, "Yes,
It was better.
yeah." And I was
Because I
really,
had
that
them like
cool vibe.
really close together. It was like back to back.
It was like
Yeah.
weekend to weekend,
Yeah.
or whatever.
Maybe even closer than that.
Yeah, it might have been like days, and I
Yeah,
didn't
I think it
plan
was
on that.
days.
So that was a cool thing because Chris won't give. He'll just
I don't
say it's
bullshit
good.
people. I'll
Yeah,
be like, it's fine.
Yeah.
Like whatever.
totally.
Yeah.
So that felt good. I'm gonna the intimidation factor now is like, how many sandwiches am I gonna make? It's gonna be a limited run. Like I don't want to waste a bunch.
Till you sold out. And
Yeah. So like, do I want to
Keep 'em-
underbuy or overbuy? That's my scary
Keep them
number.
wanting more.
And then I guess
I
other
don't-
than that, like
I don't think you can overbuy.
that means yeah. You don't think so?
No.
You think we'll get? Okay, give me a number. You think we're gonna get 100 chicken sandwiches?
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I think 100 is
Fuck.
pretty
And
good.
I'm buying
Absolutely.
100 because that's a lot of chicken sandwiches for a
What's the date today?
It'll be 2 weeks from this
4th.
coming Monday.
Okay. So
Or,
if
sorry.
we get a couple
1
if
week
we get
from
a couple pictures going and then pop something out, a few things on Instagram, a few things on Facebook, a few signs in a cafe,
Yeah.
Yeah.
probably get 100.
You've seen people do pop-ups in Santa Cruz,
I know
right?
they show out.
You've seen like the line out the door at Full Steam Dumpling.
Yep.
It's true. Nobody's had this yet, but it'll be fun.
Or like when Kickin' Chicken just randomly pops up somewhere and it's like a line around the brewery. I mean, it's not unprecedented, and the shit is good.
So just maybe I'll have to call it out. 100 sandwiches.
And it's real simple too, which I also like. You don't have to mess with that. Like you don't have to wonder what to get.
No, you're gonna get.
All you need to know is if you're hot or not.
Yeah, hot or not, simple. And then Alex is gonna do. I think he said at least 3 different kinds of donuts. He'll do his vanilla, his chocolate, and his custard. Or
I'm
his
gonna get one of each of those and eat the fucking whole
lemon
thing.
curd. But there's one other one he might do apricot. So I don't know if he's doing 4 or not.
So it'll be at the same time.
So he's gonna start the morning, and then I'll probably start serving around 10.
Okay.
So he's because he's got all
out of Swift. Okay.
Yeah. So it'll be at Swift Street on Monday because currently we don't have the staffing to stay open on Mondays.
Oh, right. Yep.
So what it'll be is we'll have our normal awesome companion pastries, and then we'll have Paw Paw is what he's going with. Paw Paws Donuts. He's got a whole story behind it. And Paw Paws Donuts will be kicking it off. And then right around 10, I'll jump in the mix and start throwing sandwiches. And that'll be that. We'll go till 3, maybe 4, depending on what's happening.
4.
You know? Yeah, most likely 4.
I don't know. I'm just saying.
I'm not anti. It really just comes
people
down.
People are going to be going.
People are going to be going. Yeah, exactly. Like
we're here to
we're
here
going to
to
do
roll
it.
nuts.
It'll be a nice Monday.
Here.
Be a nice Monday. Fried chicken sandwiches. Let's do
There's
it.
a lot of things happening in the Cat and Cloud universe. It seems like.
There is. It always is.
But we got to give ourselves a B to a B plus for.
I'd say B plus. What does it take to get an A for you? Are we grading? If we're going to grade the rest of this year, how do we get ourselves to an A?
That's a great question.
So I think part of it would be like, what do we want to accomplish for like the second half of the year?
I think for an A is taking the. I don't know. It's like building in the new leaders that are established.
Yeah, because we have a lot of coordinators coming in.
It's like on like let's pick on Andre for example. Andre, new team leader, formerly great coordinator, retail. So undoubtedly having him in the roastery is a big win.
Yep.
Then what does he do when he's in there?
Right.
He's already
So
making
what's the
moves,
culture
but
surrounding
what is he able to build and grow between now and the end of the year?
Manifest.
Yeah, manifesting could be fun. Like we've seen the cultural turn in the roastery. I think continue that.
Right. So to me, the cultural opportunities are to take what we have going right now, which is, I mean, shout out and props to Andre, even though he kind of got him a couple podcasts back. So you can't get too many, Andre. I know you said thank you, but
you shout out Grace and Alex.
Yeah, shout out Grace and Alex for supporting. No,
Andre,
he
you're
deserves
getting
it.
some freebies right now, and this is me talking to you directly. You're gonna really need to drop the hammer if you want to get another shout out.
Yeah,
bro.
dude, that's how it's going.
I've been giving them out like candy. I don't usually do
Yeah,
that,
you don't
so
usually
it's
do
like you're kind of dead to me now, honestly. I'm officially over
the
you.
turn to me comes down to when that whole team is tasting and really deeply understanding how the work they're doing in the roaster and the curves and all the things they're working with, how if we were to end the year and that entire team began to understand on the table how they were interconnected and being able to call that out, which is going to have to be led by Andre, right? I think that to me is like the next key besides the straightforward organizational cleanliness and some of the things that we're doing to support the efficiency in there, which a little bit of that was we needed to help. The rest will be how is Andre and the team going to clean, reorganize, and operationalize that place. And they have a great plan thanks to Alex and Grace and Andre starting that. So I think if I were going to call out like end of the year, that would be, to me, taking the roastery from B to A is staffed up, and then the beginning of that understanding, the consistent dedication to the coffee tasting and the cross-training understanding there.
Yeah, here's another sprinkle on top of that. Since SCA is coming up.
Right.
I often think of how well-trained, well-empowered, and confident people are feeling. If I was going to drop someone off in the middle of the trade show floor at SCA, let's say I plucked a roaster out of our roastery and dropped them in the middle of SCA.
To talk roasting?
Could they have a conversation with a group of other roasters, contribute in a meaningful way, and also not get pushed around? Like, be confident enough in their own skill and what we're doing here to have those conversations with like, oh, okay, we do this, that, and the other. I see what you're talking about here, but I don't know. This is what's worked really well for us.
Right.
Yeah.
Instead of going into that place, which we've maybe been in the past year, to where we had a crew that was just, we weren't as focused on those things. So I can imagine if we like rewinded time a little bit and plucked some of those people out, it would have been like, oh, I don't know.
Right.
Or
Yeah,
like,
they're just really fresh.
that's what you do? Okay, cool. Like, fine. I don't
I'll
feel
do that
empowered.
too.
That must be
yeah.
right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you must be right. You're good. We're good here.
Right.
And it's like that empowerment is something that the SCA time of year always triggers for me. And I think about that in terms of baristas too.
Oh,
Like
for sure.
just professionals overall. Can you
Uh-huh.
put people in those hyper social situations where they kind of got to hold their own against the other industry professionals and can speak with confidence?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would be really, because we have a specific mission for what we want our coffee to taste like, and the way we roast it is for that.
Yeah.
So being able to own that in a setting where other people have a different opinion is intimidating when you're young, I think, especially when you see somebody that you've maybe watched for a long time and then they have a strong opinion. You're like, yeah, maybe we should try it that way. It's like, no. Like, we know exactly what we're doing and why we're doing it, and being able to own that in the moment and talk about what we do that makes our coffee taste the way we want is going to be a great test for those people. I think they understand it. The difference is walking it and owning it without necessarily maybe standing next to one of us and having us help. And that would be a really great, I think they know it, right? Or at least
I don't know.
They
I
get
mean, I
in
think
there.
some do.
I think we are making coffee that tastes the way we want it to taste.
Right.
And then the understanding might still be coming up just from what
That's
I'm
fair.
hearing you talk about. You've been in the roastery more than I have lately. And
Yeah.
like you talked to me this morning about just the idea of, oh, we threw some coffee that was fresh on right out of the roaster. And when you're
Mhm.
cupping coffees that are right out of the roaster, it is a skill that you build to be able to taste through all of that off-gassing, all of that
Yeah.
fresh roasted, the things that are associated with simply coffee being that fresh, and get to the flavors that are lying underneath. In the same way that it is a skill to be able to taste for quality at origin when you have a bunch of subpar sample roasts, to be
Yeah.
able to ignore the qualities that the roast is imparting and focus on the coffee. And like those are the things that we have opportunities to build in the roastery, to where it's, we're getting a B plus. Here's our A elevation.
Well, and that's pretty fun too. Even things like, how Pakamara has a flavor that's unique to Pakamara.
Yeah.
That I would kind of say sometimes reminds me of like the underlying flavors are tropical, but they're also like papaya-y. They're the way the acidity it all presents itself is unique to the Pakamara. So on the table yesterday, too, we have a
El
honey
Sal
palette
honey
Pakamara, which is really good, and it was one of my favorites on the table. But same thing, like the way we have bought coffees prior, they're so overtly juicy and clean and specific that this one, that it has like a lot of low notes that blend with it that make it really complex. And so for the young cuppers, that, and then it happened in Honduras too with Colmena, because Colmena has that like round Kenya where there's like, I don't think it's tomato, but people could argue that there's like that mix of those flavors that would remind you of like that tomato world mixed with like the hyper tropical, and it's just so much going on. That same thing, like our team has scored those coffees low, and it's a little bit of the inconsistency of understanding like these varieties, the complexity and the butteriness maybe of like a Pakamara that can come like the almost as like the Chardonnay butter that goes along with all that fruit. Like that doesn't make it bad at all. It's just not what we're used to. There was some really interesting, like to your point with the roasting and all that, some interesting opportunity there, which is, I love that because we have blank slates.
Yeah.
It's
Those
just
coffees
helping them to
create good
see.
conversations.
Such good conversations.
Such good
I almost called
conversations.
you over to be like, hey, taste these ones and tell me which one is the Pakamara. So you'd be like, that one.
Yeah.
And you would,
I would have fucking nailed it because I fucking love
love
Pakamara.
Pakamara.
Yeah,
exactly.
I'm all about it.
Yeah.
And
I am too.
that's another, all these are, these are levels.
Layers and levels.
Right,
Yeah.
to where it's one, yeah, sure. Let's get to the place to where we don't discount coffees because they don't taste exactly like what we've traditionally scored really well.
Yeah.
Also, it'd be cool if we cupped a bunch of coffees and everyone in the roastery is like, that one tastes like Pakamara without actually knowing what it is. Or that's a geisha.
Yeah.
Or like,
Yeah, the geishas
You know what
usually
I mean?
stand out pretty good too once you know.
yeah, once you know, and then
Yeah.
to be able to throw those things out there. I mean,
So those
like
are
you said, the
like
game
moon
is like
shots.
forever.
Yeah.
The game's forever,
Yeah.
right? And I'm sure at any roastery, at any, we're really out on a limb here, right? And this is I love that we're having this conversation because this is what I think makes us special, or part of what makes us special is the ability to actually have this conversation. Because the reality of anybody's situation, anybody's business situation, is that you have people coming in and going out.
Yeah.
So at any given time, you've got a blend or a mix of understanding and levels of professionalism. If you have good leadership and someone who's on top of it, you can maintain a certain quality despite having newer people in who don't know all of the whys behind the what's yet. They don't know like the details, but they're working to get there. So at any given time, you have a mix of people. You have people who can be like, that's Pakamara, that's Geisha, this is definitely coffee from Brazil, and blah,
Right.
blah, blah. And then new people. So you're always kind of shuffling that deck. And then hopefully over time, the percentages start to shift enough to where instead of, 20-80, then you get 50-50, and then you really get to that stronghold where you got the 80-20 where most of the people can call out those things. And that's like a really big, that's a cool goal to have.
It seems like we consistently work towards that.
Yeah.
And I think that is something that is unique to us. And I believe we should be proud of the team coming up with us, because I agree. The more they lean into all of that, the less it requires. I imagine a lot of companies, there's like the one person who's always the spokesperson. And I don't think that's our goal. Our goal is that we would bring up enough people that anyone could speak to the majority of it. And they don't have to be perfect. But I do think that we don't have, it feels like, a fear of the posturing, or we don't feel like we need to posture. We do our best with what we've got. And yeah, Andre's going to go, and he's going to find places where he doesn't know, and he's going to find places where he's insecure in New Orleans. And that's okay with us because we know he's doing amazing work. And that's not a make or break, where in the past I've experienced companies where it's like, you don't go to these places unless you're going to be like the A+ of all A+ so that we look good. And I think that vulnerability and authenticity is healthier. And I enjoy it more. It makes me feel good knowing that I don't also have to be the perfect business owner, because
no one is.
Yeah. And I don't need to pretend like I'm going to be.
Yeah.
I need to pretend nothing. I need to be in there and do my best with my team and like learn on the fly, which I enjoy that more.
I need to pretend nothing.
I need to pretend nothing. Okay, so that's kind of the roastery. Like any other fun manifestations for
For the roastery?
green coffee?
Marketing
Marketing,
manifestations.
retail. Like I
I
mean,
mean, this is where we have a ton of opportunity with coffee launches to connect the work that you do in green coffee with the front line, but also just the company as a whole. Because for a long time, our coffee launches are they've been functional, right? It's
Yeah.
like we need to launch coffee, so we buy coffee and then we launch it, and then it's out there. But it's not an event, right? And you have to pick your scale. But I always think like, okay, cool, when something new comes out of Apple, like when they're launching a new iPhone
on a
or a
stage.
new Mac or something, it's like people talk about it, people know about it, they know why it's different than the one before, even if they know it's just an iPhone. And I think coffee has the potential to be kind of like that, to where you have this blend of familiarity but new interesting facts. And just to equip the frontliner, like when people come in the door and are like, what coffee do I get? To have the first answer not be what do you want? What do you need?
could be anything.
And just create a launch system that empowers like from A to Z and takes it all the way down. That's like a big job.
Yeah.
Obviously, I just said like that's a big old thing.
But it's a fun thing.
It
could be a fun
Yeah.
thing. If that's all this to me too is like, all these things can be very fun as long as they're not one person's job to figure out.
Yeah,
right?
usually that's I feel like we're moving toward that being a collaboration. It's like I hopefully make it like a little part-time green coffee coordinator person, and that person kind of works with like a marketing, or Mark's been helping with the coffee launches a bit and in the cafes. So I feel like it could be like a 2-3 person collaboration that ends up being pretty fun for everybody involved.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, we'll need a really dialed-in vision. Like, what does a coffee launch look like? Kind of in the same way that we've been kicking around what does a merch launch look like? You know, okay, cool. Is it a piecemeal? Is it a thing? How much of our menu is recurring versus how much switches off? How long? This is where partners come into play too. Like, how long does it make sense to keep a coffee on the menu?
Yep.
I don't know. I'm saying a lot of things. If we're stepping back and looking from the guest perspective, this is what I would love to see in terms of coffee knowledge and coffee empowerment. Someone comes into the cafe and says, I want a bag of coffee. I don't know what to get. And then the person behind the counter says, okay, check this out. Our newest coffee is boom. This is what it is. This is why I love it. It's so good. If you're used to this kind of coffee, this is what you want to go with. Boom. Like, hit them fucking hard. None of this soft bullshit service. So it's like, okay, well, what kind of coffee do you normally drink? Acceptable question in some situations, depending on like how you
gotta read
how you
how you
hit
read
it. You
it.
got to read the situation and like, okay, what are you thinking of doing? Like, how are you doing the thing? Like, what are you like so afraid to give the person the wrong coffee that you just give them the shittiest experience and like can't serve them at all? It's like, dude, you're an expert. Own the expert. If you don't know the coffees, that's kind of on you. And I'm not shouting out like the people in our company saying like,
We're talking
we're
long-term
failing.
dream.
I'm
Yeah.
just saying,
Dream scoping.
I'm saying this is the shit that we love to
Professional
see
world. Yeah. That we like to
from
see.
this world, and some of these are things that we experience going to other coffee companies too. It's not something that like, oh, we're blowing it on this and that's it.
Yeah,
But-
because roughly we've got like a staggered coffee launch system where it's like we launch new coffees every 6 weeks, and generally a coffee's on the menu for like roughly 3 months, and that kind of determines how many coffees we launch, how many producers we work with, and everything. It kind of flows back that way. But again, like 3 months seems like a good amount of time to have a coffee on the menu for people to get familiar with it, for guests to enjoy it, while not being too long or too short,
Yeah.
while still having like those mainstays that are always there.
Sure.
Doing some fun stuff like the best friends blend or stuff like that.
That was a hit. Is a hit.
It was
It was a hit. They're hitting hard.
Yeah, it's almost we're
almost
almost
done.
gonna wrap that up.
Man,
Yeah.
that's exciting. Yeah, I mean, I think that's a great overarching vision for a green coffee. I mean, there's also the simple, like, whether they're in stock, but it would be cool to have the design finish for the new bags of our coffee. Doesn't have to be, they don't have to be here. That'd maybe turn me to an A+ in that portion if they were here. That'd be awesome. But even just if the design was done and we felt confident and ready to go, that'd be a rad thing to have done before the end of the year. The year moves fast. I mean, especially, I think the thing that trips me out is we front loaded so much the first half of the year that I planned all my vacations for basically starting now through the end of the year and didn't do really anything the first half of the year. And now that they're coming, we're equally, if not more busy than we were in the first half of the year. And it's just weird because all I'm really saying is like the time is moving really, really quick.
Yeah.
Like it's moving a lot faster now than it was, which is good because that means we're doing more things. We have more projects, we have more connection pieces. At the same time, we're living out that end of the summer stress in our cafes with low low staff, less staff, meaning we don't have enough people, and we're gonna have like some healing time there, right? Because typically we're gonna go into like a softer season, a less busy season.
Yeah. Once kids go back to school, it's less. Yeah.
Part of me is like fingers crossing that will happen for rest for the team, and part of me is like not believing because of the pandemic that that's gonna happen this year, that it's actually gonna stay busy, which is in the back of I know our leadership team's mind like a stressful thing because they're working so hard, and so I guess if we were to transition to retail, the key to me would be like getting the people on. The overarching thing would be how can we take the pressure off of our current upper leadership team, not take it off in an unhealthy way, but take it off because of the support and the ability to have the right amount of people there and the support system so that they don't feel like they need to sprint for essentially almost an entire
which hopefully
year.
is where we're going with a couple more coordinators.
Fingers crossed.
See how that melds in.
Fingers crossed. I mean, I think we're making all the right steps. It still is a busy time, and we're still navigating all of that. It's that to me would be a key to the retail experience, because it is cool. You'll go to our cafes. The front of house is amazing. We're working really hard. The team is nonstop training. I get positive feedback literally walking up today. Y'all brought in a bunch of new people quick, and they're all amazing. And so that's a real testament to our leadership team and the retail experience. The retail leaders are like, I'm so tired from training all these people, and honestly, they're not reaping even the internal rewards of knowing or feeling that truth. They don't feel like they're doing a good enough job because they're not to the level they need to go, people-wise, even though they're doing such a good job that people are like, these new people are amazing. And that, to me, is, I think, it's the hard thing to figure out. It's the ethereal, like, how do you figure that out when the drive of our leaders is so high, but the return for them is not as high as it needs to be in terms of that emotional win?
I know. Sometimes I feel like that takes time because they've all been in their spot for like less than a year.
Totally.
Right? And it's like you just see after you're in the industry for so long that it is like I mean, I love that they go hard, but it is like a marathon.
Yeah.
And I don't want them to sprint to the marathon, it's like that's not sustainable.
Mm-hmm.
So just going hard, but still realizing as you get more experience and as you're in the industry longer that it is a marathon where there's people coming, people going, and hopefully putting in the systems and having the support to support you over the long term, because there's always going to be people moving on. There's always going to be new people coming in, and how can that be within like a healthy, sustainable system?
Hey, that's the end of the podcast. Thanks for listening. I know this is the time, the shameless, like classic, we need your help, but we do want to get our message out there, and we do want to share this with a lot of people. So if you could share this with others, you could subscribe, you could rate, you could review. It would greatly help us as we continue to push through not only the YouTube as it's fresh, but also the general podcast as we took nearly an entire year off from doing it. And so please do so, share it. I believe that we have some information and some perspectives that could help not only people in the coffee industry, but people in any industry, any walk of life. So do us that favor, do us that solid, bring us that love, and turn up for us, please. And I hope y'all have a great time. Thanks for listening. Goodbye.